Yeah, welcome Healy World family in the United States for our Frequency Friday webinar today on May 8th, 2020. Yeah, my name is Frank Deile. I'm the Chief Sales Officer for Healy World, and I will guide you a little bit through our webinar today. Of course, we're for the US in day number 8 of our business in the United States. We're actually thrilled to all have you on board now. You had an amazing first few days. So congratulations to every one of you for your hard work and your dedication and the love you have for Healy. Of course, I'm not here alone today, as on all Frequencies Friday, we have great guests for you today. And I want to show you who is with us on the call today. Of course, we have Markus Schmieke with us. Markus, our founder, inventor, the genius behind our Healy and the technology. So welcome, Markus. Thanks for being here today.
Hi, Frank.
Then, of course, the next gentleman you all also know very well. He's our global master distributor. So welcome, Dirk Zahmann. Hi, Dirk.
Hello, everybody.
And then the only lady for today, but of course we're very happy to have her, is a leader, a top leader who is very long with us from the beginning. She is burning for Healy. So welcome our Healy World Director from Holland, living in Belgium, I have to say, Tanya T. Hi, Tanya.
Thank you, Frank. Hi, guys.
And then we jump really to the US because, of course, we have one of our top leaders from the US with us today. And I'm really looking forward to hear from him because he has some amazing things to tell as well. So welcome, Dr. Stephen Small. Hi, Steve. And then last but not least, of course, we have with us today our general manager for Healy World USA, Rick Fleshman. Hi, Rick. Did you improve your German?
Morning. Wie geht's? Guten Abend.
Okay.
Frohe Weihnachten.
We have to work on that. Great. Okay. So all the guests today for here, all the speakers here for you today on the webinar. And of course, I want to start with Markus today a little bit. And as he took the time to be here with us today. Markus, when we talk about frequencies and we talk about the knowledge of frequencies, this knowledge has been around for hundreds and thousands of years, and then somewhat got lost and has risen again in recent years, really. What is the reason that frequency applications or frequencies in general have such a renaissance lately?
Yeah, Frank, thank you. This is a very good question. It's also a kind of a philosophical or historical question because frequencies, something very fundamental. And we are not the first culture or civilization talking about frequencies, but frequencies have been around for thousands of years. And people in the ancient cultures on this planet have been very much aware about the importance of frequencies. I don't know how they got this knowledge, but for example, the ancient Indian tradition, not the US Indian, but the Vedic Indians, who had a high civilization already 5,000 years ago in India, and writing ancient books of knowledge, which are called the Vedas. And I had the privilege to study these books for more than 12 years when I was a monk, from very great teachers. And in these books, there's everything described about consciousness and spirituality, but also practical things like about healing and music, like Ayurveda and Gandharva Veda, about architecture, Sthapatya Veda, or about the stars, Jyotish. But the basis of all this knowledge was that the universe is based on vibration. Vibration is ultimately what is there. And everything in this proto-science, I would call it, is based on frequency or comes from frequency. Like frequency is the basis, and then from frequency, two lines of realities emerge. One is energy, and the other is information. So vibration or frequency is the basis, and energy and information, which are terms of modern physics. All of them are terms of modern physics. They emerge from frequency, and frequency is something like changing in time. So the time in this ancient understanding is very fundamental, much more fundamental than space. And this is something which is just now in this years rediscovered by modern theoretical physics. They try to unify quantum physics and theory of relativity and discover how fundamental time and vibration actually are, and then energy information emerging from them, emerging from vibration. So this knowledge was there over thousands of years, and it was also the ancient Greek culture had this knowledge. Pythagoras had formulated with his school all the harmonic laws which concern vibrations and frequencies, and they considered this harmonical laws and principle to be the fundament on which this universe rests. Democritus and other scholars in ancient Greek, they already had the ideas of atoms and based on vibrations and frequencies, but all this knowledge got destroyed. Democritus has written 90 books. This is only known from one of his disciples, but all his books were destroyed by the church. So we don't have this knowledge anymore now. So it took 1,500 years of dark Middle Age, where all the knowledge was banned basically by the church here in Europe, until the European Enlightenment started with Isaac Newton and Immanuel Kant. And Immanuel Kant's main statement was, all knowledge comes from observation. So this was a renaissance of the idea that we have senses and that we can perceive with our five senses, and we have a mind to think and draw our conclusions and get knowledge from what we see in nature. And immediately when this started, frequency had an amazing renaissance, because wherever one looks in nature, you find rhythms, you find cycles, you find things vibrating and creating a vibration of frequencies and time. Of course, the higher vibrations needed more refined technical solutions, like measuring the brain electricity or measuring the heartbeat. So also this finer vibrations, the higher frequencies were discovered. And one of the geniuses in the modern times who really focused on it was Nikola Tesla. He once even said, if you want to understand the universe, focus on terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And if you focus on this, is another quote from him, and the more subtle reality of the universe, science will in 10 years make more advancement than it has been doing since its start. So that's something which got really lost and rediscovered by Nikola Tesla. And then, of course, in the beginning of the last century, it was quantum physics, discovered by Albert Einstein, Max Planck, Niels Bohr, Werner Heisenberg. And there, the even more fundamental nature of frequency got discovered, which is very close to the understanding of the ancient Vedic scriptures, the old text from Sanskrit, that nature is based on elementary particles which have certain quantum states, which are harmonics of the underlying basic frequencies. So the quantums of energy are based on frequencies. It's not energy vibrating, but energy itself comes from frequency. Information itself comes from vibration of frequency. So this was a revolution of thought in modern physics in the 20s of the 20th century, 1920 to 1927, and even until 1935, when all the great geniuses in the world, and Albert Einstein, Niels Bohr, de Broglie, Dirac, everything came together. Everyone came together in Copenhagen to make a conclusion out of quantum physics, because quantum physics blew the mind of everyone. It was just a revolution of thought, because ultimately if you looked into the most objective, if you looked very deeply into what matter is, in its deep root, it turns out to be pure information depending on consciousness. So the material reality is based on consciousness, information, and vibration. It's a completely new thought. And in the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum physics, this was written down. So it was almost a second age of enlightenment. And that time, when you read the biographies of those physicists and philosophers and psychologists like Carl Gustav Jung, who were active in this time, you could think, it was an age where humanity actually could get enlightened as a whole. But historically, there was another plan. It was a time when not only in science there was a strong energy, but there was such a strong energetical polarization in the world that it seemed that the Second World War was unavoidable. And it actually happened. It started in 1939. So it devastated the old world. So 1945, the 2 nuclear bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This is something which should never be forgotten. Of course, it was a quick end of the war, but on the other hand, it was a great cut to do something like this, to kill 250,000 people with one weapon. It's unimaginable. So it made such a cut into the history of the human consciousness. It stopped all of this development. After the Second World War, the whole world was busy to create a new material world order based on the discoveries of quantum physics and science. It was a revolution of technology, cybernetics, everything only possible on the basis of quantum physics, computer science, nuclear science, weapon technology, laser technology, medical technology, all based on quantum physics. 35% of our total turnover on the world, global turnover, is based on quantum physics nowadays. So, but they only took the technical applications, the engineering consequences of quantum physics, but not the idea, the philosophy, the world, the new non-mechanistic, non-materialistic worldview. This was not built into this new world order, which was created, but only the material aspect. So, but by this, we have created so much problems in the world right now that it absolutely needs another renaissance of this knowledge, of the second forgotten part of this knowledge, that consciousness, information, coherence, and vibration are the basis of existence, and focusing on these aspects to create a new technology which is actually really friendly to the human being, which is friendly to nature, which helps us to solve the problems which we have created ourselves. So I'm very confident. I've seen many signs, not on the sky, but in the developments of modern science, and I'm observing the publications a lot. I'm observing the patents which are done, and I'm talking to many top scientists from CERN, from other top-level research institutions. There is in the background a lot of research going on. Even 3 years ago, one top scientist from the University of Geneva, I don't want to mention his name here, who does cutting-edge research on frequencies and how to use them in medicine, and how they're related to our cells, to the stem cells, and how they could be used for stem cell regeneration and so. And he has, I don't know how many dozens of high-level publications. You even find them in the internet, if you would know whom I'm talking about. And he told me personally that, Markus, what we are doing at the universities, this is just the public think about. In the background, all this research on frequencies is already going on, but it's not time yet to be released because still the old world, the old business world is based on the old technology, and it's a multi-billion business. So they're planning the change in the background. So this is something which might be true or not, but it encouraged me a lot to hear something like this from a great scientist. This was 3 years ago. So 1.5 years ago, we came finally out with a Healy, which combines all these new discoveries from quantum physics about the importance of the information. The information field is inbuilt into the Healy through the quantum sensor. It uses all the spectrum of frequencies which we know, which can be used to balance the bioenergetic system and change the quantum state of the system. So it uses frequencies, it uses information, but it also uses the importance of consciousness. This is especially important if you work with a resonance module. So this is something like, I believe we are the first, if maybe one of the first, if not the first, companies in the world which use this new technology and spread it on a very, very large scale. So I think Healy is a very significant first visible part of this renaissance of frequencies, vibrations, information, and consciousness.
Marcus, you gave us a technology which can really do something good in the world and which has a positive impact on everybody who is using it. And we have a breakthrough technology and we have patents we hold on that. And not only our members around the globe really are interested in the Healy, I know also that there is a story with a very, very big online seller who contacted you or like through an employee a little while back about our great product, because they also realized that this is a technology which will be very guiding in the future. Maybe you want to tell us a little bit about that story.
Yes, I mean, you mentioned something very significant, because I was never a friend of patents. You have to reveal too much of your own knowledge. And it was when I started traveling China a lot some years ago, when I got very aware about usefulness of patents. And the people I met there very much encouraged me. So we have a patent on the very important communication technology between the Healy and the smartphone, which is important for the security of our data, which is the most important thing in our product management. But I also applied for internationally for a patent on the picking the frequencies from the information field to the quantum sensor. So this is something which I learned from my friends in China, how important it is. And of course, related to this incident which you were mentioning, developing TimeWeaver took 7 years, not TimeWeaver Healy. Developing TimeWeaver before took also 7 years, so it's all together 14 years, but developing Healy was 7 years. And when Healy was not ready yet, we had a prototypes and we had the idea to release it maybe 3 years ago. Yeah, it must have been 3 years ago, or maybe a little longer, maybe 4 years ago. Our marketing manager that time, he went to visit a conference, a very big international conference on apps, applications, and wearables, just to see what's new there and talk to a few people. We didn't have a booth because we didn't want to make Healy public yet before we had released it. But he was talking just to a few people. And in the next week, I got a phone call from a very amazing person, a genius. He developed Google Glass. He was one of the chief developers of Google. And then he got to Amazon as a vice president. And as a vice president of Amazon, he was very much into wearable technology and app technology, because Amazon is a giant, not just selling online, doing many things in the background. And he phoned me. His name is Babak Parvis, and he phoned me, and he was very interested, wanting to know everything about the Healy. Of course, I didn't tell him everything about the Healy, but enough to make him so interested that he phoned a second time and then connected me to one of his top technical staff people. But talking to them, I realized very quickly that it's not the right company. We don't want to cooperate in our Healy group with a global player from the US who is very much basically concerned with FDA and many other things. And I that time understood if we give up our independence, we will not be able to realize our vision as we wanted. So that time I decided we remain independent, and we that time decided that we will, whatever happens, finance Healy from our own resources to stay independent, because whoever gives the money, he decides. So we are very fortunate that we, not like Nikola Tesla, depended on someone like JP Morgan to finance our enterprise. And when he didn't like what we were doing because it was not fitting to the world how he imagined it, then the program would be even stopped. So we never wanted this. So we decided Healy will remain independent, and even if it's remains small or grow slowly, we will be responsible for everything ourselves. We can decide everything ourselves. So nowadays I'm very happy that we choose this way. So it's just Christian Halper and me who are the shareholders and advise our management team on a very constant basis. And I'm mainly involved with the product development. So this staying independent, very important for us. And still we didn't stay small. Fortunately enough, 1.5 years, October 2018, I met Dirk Zahlmann, our global master distributor, and in the last 1.5 years, we built up this company together. He even was willing to, in the first year, be our CEO, because it was so important to have someone to drive it, to have the energy and the vision to execute everything which is necessary. Nowadays, he doesn't have to do it, but he can completely focus on building up the network. So that time I got convinced that network marketing is really the right thing. And fortunately, due to this meeting and everything that followed from that, we didn't stay small. We did everything on our own resources. And now we are growing so quickly that I don't say we will soon as big as Amazon, but we make it absolutely without the help of these big companies.
Yeah, and as you said, we are independent. We have a very high standard of security. What is in regards of data and all of that. But also there, I want to mention something, because I know this is going around, especially in the United States, very, very much on social media. There is a post which says that we would give personal data to big companies, and then Healy would be used to send waves to control our mind in order to behave that in a way that Bill Gates wants. And you explained this already with the independence, but maybe you want to say a little bit about this. And I just saw Martin coming in as well, our chief product officer.
Because the guy who's responsible for all our data security and who knows all the details about everything, not only within the Healy, but also in the medical cloud, because he, with his teams, constructed all of this. He just came in at this moment when you asked this question, because he had a very busy day working here in the castle in the development process. And we are working together on this project since 7 years already. I like to give a quick answer. Of course, the internet is very creative, very creative. If I'm getting a funny idea and write it on a good picture and post it on Facebook and other social medias, if it is corresponding with the ideas or projections of the people, it can go viral. So whatever, doesn't matter if it's true or not, it has a big chance in the internet. So I think what you just mentioned, to me, of course, it's completely absurd. And I don't think people will believe it. Of course, Bill Gates nowadays is a projection for everything evil which happens, a projection plan or a projection, how to say all the evil in the world is projected on him in some circles in the internet. I don't believe it anyway, of course not, but we are not cooperating with Bill Gates. We're not even using any of his softwares, because if you base your things on Microsoft, anyway, I don't want to talk about this, but they are creating only standard solutions. And we didn't use any standard solutions in Healy because for our problems, there were no standard solutions. So we had to work with very specialized teams. So we have done everything ourselves. So we are absolutely responsible and in control of our data. So I hope you trust me, and you can trust me, and you can trust our team. And I hope very soon you will also very personally get to know, maybe on a Healy World 2020. I don't know if it's possible yet, but latest next year, we all have to come together. We have to come to the US. You have to get to know our people. Then you will be very much convinced that the intention, the very clear vision and intention is there to help the people, and not to control the people, but to give the people all the independence which they need to take responsibility in their own hands for their own life, for their own health, but especially on their own thoughts and minds. So because Martin just came in, I can give the microphone to him, or I will turn actually this camera around, so he can give you a little more insight into this. So just turning the camera. Here's Martin, just a few words. He is a master's in medical engineering and many other things. He worked in the very big hospital very close by here, and he was responsible as a physicist for the whole radiation therapy. At one point, he realized this is not what he wants to do his whole life. He wants to do something really meaningful, and then this fortunate event happened that we met, and we decided to work together. So it's 7 years already. And in the 7 years, since the 7 years, Martin is he's our CPO, our Chief Product Officer, and he's organizing all the teams. There must be at least 20 different teams working on the IT, working on the hardware development, working on the cloud development. So he can give you a little more information on this.
Yeah, so hello everyone. So it was quite funny when I first heard that we are involved with Microsoft products, because Healy technology is so unique. So it's something no one ever built, and all the science behind it, all the technique behind it is built by a German engineer basically. And the firmware in the Healy, which gets the frequencies going, and which also of course uses the quantum sensor. So this needed to be built up from scratch from the German engineer. So everything which is in the Healy is built up by this engineer and for ourselves, because you couldn't use any standard parts or any standard programming things that are there in the market. And the same is with the connection to the smartphone, because it's a very unique protocol, as we already had. It's patented. So if you communicate from the smartphone to the Healy and back, it's not that you just send and then hope that everything is fine. You send something, and then the Healy looks at the smartphone. Is it actually there? And the smartphone looks back. Did it actually work? and then basically you have this connection back and forth, so nothing happens if it didn't double check if it actually should happen. So that's why your Healy is very safe and the connection is very safe, and all the frequencies that go to the Healy are checked basically if it actually is the data that should be there. And that same applies for the cloud data. So this data is of course completely different than all the other data that are usually used. So we built up our own cloud data server, and which is connected to the Healy. So all the Healy programs are sent to the cloud data server. They are all checked before they are sent and checked when they are sent to the Healy, and then checked in the smartphone also. And this whole system is completely in our hands basically, and no one else can interfere with this. And the same is with the other systems. So all other apps are using basically our own system and our own logics, and all the data goes in basically. We analyze or analyze and also feed our AI with this data, and with only one purpose, to give basically the best recommendations back to our customers, back to all Healy product users. And that closed system basically is very secure. I always give the example of the Heal Advisor Analyze app. So you have an RSA key which is encrypted with 4096 bit. So it's very hard. It takes a few years to encrypt this thing, and that's why you have this master key. Okay, if you lose this master key, of course, all your data is gone, because we can't decrypt it anymore, and no one else can decrypt it. Just you with your master key can decrypt it, and we're implementing right now the exact same system for all the data that is there. And that's basically why it is quite ridiculous that we are using Microsoft things and they are actually doing something with our system, because we are independent and our systems are completely built up from scratch by our German engineers. So basically that's the science behind, and that's all for our customers.
And thank you, Martin. I think this is a very detailed description. I'm also I know I know very well which frequencies we have in the Healy, what are the potential frequencies, and also the physical parameters of the voltage and amperage, and the way how we apply it through different electrodes. And I can even in my wildest imagination not imagine a program through which we could control the mind of the people with the Healy. I have no idea about it, and I don't think Bill Gates has an idea about it. Nothing like this is known that it would be possible with especially this very low energy frequencies. I trust very much in the freedom of the mind. This is the highest value we are having, the freedom of the human being. And especially his mind. And I think the mind of the human being is strong enough that it will not be influenced by this, not controlled. Of course, you can influence with frequencies in a very positive way. I'm actually not even aware about how any frequency which can possibly be created by the small Healy could harm the person. Martin, are you aware about? I don't think any of these frequencies which you are able to produce with the Healy could create any harm in the body, in the brain, or for the mind. If this would be possible, I couldn't sleep during the night, because this would be the worst thing if we would harm a person. I don't think it's possible at all.
You're still muted.
Frank, we don't hear you.
Sorry, thank you very much, Marcus, of course, for being here again today. And Martin, thank you very much for taking time as well. Martin, you will be, I can tell you already, one of our next guests on the Frequency Friday, because we want to hear, of course, much more from you, because I know you two for quite a little while now as well. And I always know that whatever you say is a given. I always know that whatever information you give me is a good information. And I think all of our members feel around the globe the same, that they can trust you, Marcus, with the technology and with Healy and Time Waver. And of course, Martin, you working with Marcus as well so closely. You're always a very good source of inspiration for all of us. So thanks, both of you, for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Next one on our list is the only lady here in the round today. I'm very happy she's here with us today because, Tanya, you have a very, very amazing, but also a very sad life story in a way, because, and I know I'm asking quite a lot from you to share this story with us here. But I have heard your story a few times now when we were together on meetings and being on the road together. And I have to say, for me, your story has a very deep impact because it's in one way a sad story, but at the end of the day, it's an empowering and encouraging story, what you went through. And I know I'm asking a lot, but I would like to ask you if you could share your story with us today.
Yes, I did it twice today, so this time it will work out too. Thank you, Frank. Well, as you heard from Frank, I'm Tanya Thiel. I'm 58 years young. I'm from the Netherlands, Europe, but I'm living in Belgium. And why I'm living in Belgium, you will hear that later in my story. I'm only child. I don't have brothers or sisters. That's very lonely. I always felt different. I don't know why, but I always felt different from the time I was a child. I was bullied a lot in my youth. Later also in the workspace, and that is very hard. That's very difficult. Therefore, I was often alone in my youth. And so I got married at the age of 20. After 20 years marriage, we divorced. My ex-husband is also the father of my two beautiful daughters, Esther and Desiree. Even in my marriage, I felt lonely. My greatest hobby, and then I got a twinkle in my eyes, and love are horses. So I went every day to my horse. It was not my own horse, but it was a horse from a company owner. I have ridden dressage to a sub-top level. I'm self-taught. It was only in the last 3 years of my career that I could take lessons from him, from a good trainer. Giving up is not in my vocabulary. And you see that also in my profession, never give up. But I always felt that I had to do something bigger and better in my life. You know, I worked in some good places, and sometimes I wasn't not so good. But I kept going because I like to win, just like with the dressage competitions. Every weekend was the competitions, dressage, and every weekend for the first place. And that I want that too in my business. And then I had a real turning point in my life. 2007, June 2nd, I became extremely ill. Till then, things were looking good. I had my own business, a beautiful home, I had everything. But I got ill. I was suddenly in the hospital. The doctor thought it was an inflammation of my colon. Then they noticed that it was colon cancer. I didn't knew it at all because I wasn't sick. I had no problems, nothing. 2 days later, I was dying. That fast it went. I only had 2.5 hours to live before the operation, or during the operation. They had to hurry. I've got an emergency surgery on Sunday afternoon. I woke up with a stoma that was gone after 2 months, happily. How many of you in here knows someone or has known someone even with the coronavirus now, that had this to live, 2.5 hours. There are not so many people. I'm one of them. But that was me, right? Then I made a decision on that deathbed to not to give up, to build again, to help people again. I looked up at the ceiling, and it was the first time I did see nothing at the ceiling. And I said, no, the time is not the time. This is not the time to die. You are not to go to die. You are going to live. You are going to help other people. And then, after 9 heavy years, I lost everything in 2016 because I couldn't keep it. My house, a lot of my furniture, everything. I became homeless for 5 months because I couldn't work anymore, because my energy level was very low, very low. Everything was gone, and then you come in a negative flow. You are always in a fighting mode. And I felt really lonely again. But I knew deep down in my soul that I am bigger and better than where I was. And I was homeless for several years. I didn't have enough food. I had to eat cans of soup. I had to eat macaroni for days. I like macaroni, but not 2-3 days every week. That's how I had to live. I had to ask people to help me. A girlfriend gave me a place in her house for 4 months together with her. Then 1 month in a van. After those 5 months, I could rent an apartment in Belgium. And now you know why I'm living in Belgium. I always worked hard, full time, and always had a good life. Started my own company, Inside Out, interior and garden design. And then 1 month later, you become ill as an entrepreneur. And you don't have anything anymore. Nothing at all. Company was 1 year later also gone. Since 2007, I received a disability benefit from the government. In dollars, I checked it out, $970 per month. Till September last year. I'm in network marketing since 2012. I had a little income next to my benefit, right? Because I can work online. I can work from home whenever I want, where I want. I can go to meetings and meeting up other people, so I'm not so lonely anymore. I was at the meetings and the trainings every time. Since that time, I'm working with Healy van Zandvoort, also from the Netherlands. It's the leader from the Netherlands and Belgium. For almost 8 years now. Due to my energy problem, I wasn't able to work full speed. I want to give a big thank to Gary. I learned a lot of him. We always worked very close and still do. Thanks to him, I am where I am now. Thank you, Gary, when you are here. And then I heard about this opportunity. Gary invited me to come over to Frankfurt, but I couldn't make it. I had another appointment and he didn't tell me wherefore it was. The next day I heard what it was all about. Healy. Never known of Healy. But the mother company, Time Waver. I know that. Hey, I know Time Waver. I was there in 2018. Invited by a friend to come over to the office at the Potsdamer Platz. Because I was in Berlin at that moment. A beautiful office. So I was immediately interested and I signed up immediately. And Gary said to me, Tanya, you are bigger and better than this life. You could change your life even more. And so even as I lost everything and I was on the road and I didn't have a place to live, no house, I was building this amazing business just like that with the same strength. And I built it. And I built it. And I got to talk to everybody. And I showed it everybody, whether they like it or not, that this is an opportunity to change their lives. And today, I'm now in a position, I have this position as a director in the company at Healy, and I have an amazing team. I'm very grateful to them. And I have a place to live. I have a warm house, and I'm helping people to change their lives through this opportunity. From totally broke for 10 years, 10 years is a great part of your life, right? To a 5-figure income earner per month in less than 1 year. Healy changed my life in more than one way. And we want to change also your lives in more than one way. Health, wealth, everything. So you understand now the start of my story today. It is not wrong to be different. Maybe it is a present. And thanks to Healy, I'm now searching for a new home with a garden. I like gardens. But that's not all. I'm now on a mission to write my story down and to help others around the world with my story and this business, Healy World, of course. And that is my real story. That if I can do it, now I'm getting emotional again, you can do it too. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Tanya, for sharing your very, very personal story with us here today. And I have to say, for me, it's nice because I see you on meetings, on roadshows, and I see you're an outgoing person. You're talking to everyone. You're getting along with everyone, and I see sparkle in your eyes again. And I'm glad that you're in a 10-figure income per month now, because that's what you deserve, you and your team. But you stood up, you dusted yourself off, you built a new life for yourself, and that's what it's all about. So thank you really for sharing this with us, and be also proud for what you did. And thank you for being with Healy World, and looking forward to see you in person again very soon as well.
Yes, and I'm very proud that more people in my team are really earning money. It's not only me.
Yes, of course.
And that's
Thank
great.
you very much. This is a very emotional story for me too, but thank you, Tanya, for sharing. Okay, so let's come to our next guest. He is, I have to say, a great professional. We always call him just Doc Steve, but really his name is Dr. Stephen Small. He's one of our top leaders from the US, and he's with us here today as well. So hi, Steve, again, back to you. Steve, as we always call you Doc Steve, but I know you have an awesome education, and you carry an amount of titles that I personally can hardly remember all of them. So please tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, thank you, Frank. It's just wonderful being here today. You know, I've been in practice now. Actually, next month I start 43 years in practice. The first 20, I was in the field of functional medicine, anti-aging medicine, nutritional medicine, preventive medicine. And then back in the late 90s, I was introduced to quantum energetic medicine. I've been practicing that for the last more than 20 years here. And it was a real, shift coming from the place of using traditional technology like blood tests, other types of tests to be able to analyze patients. And I found that it was very, very limiting in that it only allowed me to see what was happening to the person at that moment in time, but never really gave me a complete picture of what was the underlying cause of what a patient's condition is. And to really treat a patient and to balance them on all levels, you really need to understand the underlying cause. And so when I got into the field of quantum energetic medicine, I was using a technology that was originally developed by one of the members of NASA, and that allowed me to be able to do a scan on a patient and find out what those underlying issues were, and to be able to treat people from that level. And when you treat a person on the causal level, it's extremely different than treating a person on a symptom level. And unfortunately, medicine today is so symptom-based, and all they rely on is a medication to deal with symptoms. And I always tell patients when they first come to see me is one of the things that I'm here to do is to take you off all the medication that you're on, because, you know, when you are on medications, and I think they say these days that in the United States, the average person is on 5 different medications. What happens is you create what I call a chronic patient. And what I mean by that is that because you never really deal with the underlying cause of a person's disease, yes, you can give a person with high cholesterol a statin drug, but are you ever really dealing with what caused the issue of the high cholesterol to begin with? No, you're just dealing with the symptom. But if a patient comes in and I can work with them and I can change their diet, I can work with supplements, I can look at the underlying cause of disease, I can eradicate that as opposed to just creating a chronic patient. So having worked in this field, in this realm, and having seen many successes, I work with patients, I work with professional athletes, all the way up to patients that deal with cancer and everyone in between. And I've seen the results of how frequency medicine has been a miraculous change for people. I always had a dream, and that dream was, for the last 10 years, that someday, somehow, somewhere, somebody would come up and develop a device, a portable device, that I'd be able to give to my patients after they left my office to continue the treatment that I had already started with them, so that when they came back to me the next time, they'd be at an even better place than they were when they left my office by continuing that treatment. And back in November, a miraculous thing occurred. I mean, it was so, when you look at the whole way it happened for me, it's just really interesting, because I was searching one night on the internet, as I do many nights, and looking at research and things very late in the evening. And I came across a page in German that just piqued my interest, and I didn't know why. And so I put it through Google Translate to see what it was. And as I looked at this page, I said to myself, could this be true? Could this be what I've been searching for the last 10 years? And so when I realized what it was, I got in contact with CJ, who's been a wonderful support for me and for most of us in the US. And I just really want to thank you, CJ, for everything you've done and being my mentor and assisting me in bringing the work of Healy forward. And so when I spoke to CJ, I said, you know, I've been in the field for the last 20 some odd years, and this has been a dream of mine, and I'm really interested in what you have. And so he said, well, let me send you a Healy and check it out. See what you think, investigate it, research it. And if it's what you think it is, and if you feel that it would be helpful for yourself, see if you'd like to get involved in the company. So I received the Healy back, I think it was the first week of December. Now, I want to jump back here a little bit in time, because in the early 90s here in Los Angeles, I was involved in a near fatal car crash. And luckily, the ambulance got to me in time. I was actually in a small sports car, and I was hit by a truck on the driver's side, so you can only imagine what that was like. But I remember in that moment in time, you know, they talk about the near-death experience. Well, I honestly believe that I had a near-death experience, because you go through this place where, you know, you see the lights and everyone that you've known in your life flashes in front of you. But then I heard a voice. The voice said to me, it's not your time. It's not your time to die. You have a lot more to do in this, on this planet. There's going to be a lot of things that you're going to be able to bring forward and share with people that are going to really heal a lot of people. And of course, I was brought immediately to the hospital, spent 9 days in intensive care and 9 months in rehab. And what the point is that I was left with a condition after this accident that I had to deal with for the last 20 years, which was a process of severe neuropathy in my right foot, which is an inflammatory process, a neurological inflammatory process. So every day when I woke up in the morning, the first thing I could focus on as soon as I opened my eyes was the pain in my foot. It was very difficult for me to walk for long periods of time, to walk on hard surfaces. Any of you that are out there that know what severe neuropathy is like, and it's a common illness actually. Now, of course, with the information that I've had and being in practice for 40 years, I've been able to do things and take supplements and work in that realm to sort of bring the level down, the threshold down. So I've gotten it to a manageable level, but you know, it's always there in my life. It affects me on a daily basis. Well, unfortunately, in the last about year and a half, it's gotten to a point where the inflammation has prevented me from driving. And so for the last year and a half, I've had to take Ubers and Lyfts and you know, have friends drive me around because I lost the sensation in my foot, the proprioceptive sensation, so that there were times when I actually couldn't go from the gas pedal to the brake and realize where my foot was. It was like lost in space. And, you know, when you're driving a car, you have to be very, very reactive. And so there were times when once I almost, my car almost went off a third story of a parking garage. I almost crashed into a brick wall. And twice I couldn't stop at a red light fast enough and almost smashed into the cars in front of me. And at that point in time, I said to myself, you know, I was almost killed once in a car accident. I'm not going to let that happen to me again. I'm also not going to hurt somebody else. So it really impacted and affected my life. And basically, I felt, well, these are the cards that I was dealt, and probably I have to just learn to adjust. And that was just the way it would be. And then Healy entered my life. And the day I got the Healy, I said, I'm going to put this to the ultimate test. I'm going to use it on me and see what it can do. So I looked at the programs and I saw there were a number of programs for neurological issues and nervous system issues. And I decided to run those programs in the evening while I was relaxing, watching television. I hooked myself up. I ran those two programs and for less than 2 hours. On night 2, I did the same thing. And then on night 3, I did the same thing. And then a magical thing happened on day 4. I woke up on day 4. And the sensation that I have felt for the last 20 years in my foot was gone, just absolutely gone. I couldn't believe it was happening. I got up, got into the shower. Usually I take a very short shower, a couple of minutes, because the tile floors are very difficult for me to stand on for a long period of time. I got into the shower. I was there for 10, 15 minutes, and it was like, wow. Second day, third day, same experience. Didn't repeat the sessions, only did the 3 sessions. But the neuropathy was gone. And then I figured, let me put this to the ultimate test. So I asked a friend if they would accompany me in my car in the passenger seat. And I started up the car and I started the ignition, took off. And all I could say is that for a device like this to be able to literally turn around a condition, a chronic condition that I have had for 20 years, to me is no short of a miracle. And so, of course, I started to then use it on various patients and other friends and people that I knew. And I can tell you, and many of you I know are just anxiously awaiting the arrival of your Healys. But the day you get your Healy, your life will be changed on every single level. It's a miraculous device. It met and exceeded every one of my expectations. It's beyond your wildest dreams. And I know that as soon as you get your Healy, you will have your own experience, your own testimonial to be able to share with everybody. And I've never really been somebody that's been involved in network marketing, but I can tell you that this is probably the easiest product you will ever have. And I don't really call it selling. I really call it sharing, because all I have to do is show somebody the Healy. Usually what I'll say to them is, would you like to try it out? I'll hook them up. And within the time that we begin to the end of the conversation, every person that I've hooked up with the Healy has already noticed an absolute change in where they were from the moment they started using it. And the next question is, how can I get one of these? It's really interesting because, they always say that when you're involved in selling of any product, you have to be prepared to get 10 no's before you get one yes. And I have found the extreme opposite in terms of working with Healy, because I've gotten no no's. I mean, I have shared this with hundreds and hundreds of people, lay people, doctors, I mean, from every walk of life. And the question that I always get after they try it out and we have a conversation is, how soon can I get it? So I think you'll find that this is probably one of the easiest experiences you'll ever have in terms of working and sharing a product with a patient. You know, we're going through a real shift right now, a paradigm shift on this planet. I say to people, you know, I never can remember a time where every single person on the planet is focused on the exact same thing. Everyone is focused on their health at this moment in time. It's in everyone's consciousness and it's in everyone's mind. This is such a perfect opportunity for us to share the magic and benefits of the Healy device. You know, it's really interesting because with the situation we're dealing with right now, everyone is realizing that traditional medicine doesn't have the answers. It's not working for people. People are dying every single day. There is nothing out there right now that has been proven to help and deal with the coronavirus. There's no one medication that's working. So people are starting to think and say to themselves, wow, I mean, I can't really rely on that type of medicine anymore. There has to be something else out there. You know, if you've been looking around and hearing about treatments, you'll notice that a lot of people are now turning towards alternative medicine. There have been some technologies that have been shown to be successful currently right now. Things like IV vitamin C therapy, which I utilize in my practice, ozone therapy, for example. And this has given us an opportunity to really come at a time where people are starting to realize that, you know, traditional medicine, pharmaceutical medicine is really not the answer. You know, there has to be another answer out there. And it's interesting, you know, Marcus talked initially about Tesla. Well, there's the other person to me who was the other greatest genius of the 20th century, who was Albert Einstein. And back in the 50s, Albert Einstein made the statement, the future of medicine is frequency medicine. He actually said that in the 1950s. And to me, that's, you know, totally true. I mean, we're going through a time now where things are all changing. And I really believe we, as owners of Healy, our destiny is to share this with as many people as we can. This technology is something that needs to be really widespread. You know, one of the things in my practice, I always tell patients that, you know, I'm a doc, but I'm also a teacher. And what I teach is for people to be able to get into that whole paradigm of what I call self-care, being able to take care of oneself, not having to rely on doctors or practitioners every time somebody has, you know, an ache or a pain or something that shows up. And this is the perfect device, because you'll be able to have this device, use it on yourself and your family. And anytime something happens, you'll be able to easily resolve that issue. That gets us into the next area, which is where I've been focused for most of my life, which is the whole aspect of what I call preventive medicine. Because yes, we all have issues that we deal with on a daily basis. And I believe the Healy will be the device that really resolves almost every issue that you can imagine. Then we get into the aspect of prevention, which to me is really where everyone wants to be. And to have a device that can keep us balanced on a daily basis on every single level, physical, mental, emotional, to prevent those diseases from occurring. And even the aspect of anti-aging, which I believe is something that really the Healy is going to be amazing for. I know I've been told that there are some programs that are coming forward that are dealing with anti-aging, stem cell programs, etc. And so we really are, when I first spoke to Martin back in November, he said to me, I just want you to know what you're seeing now is just the tip of the iceberg. We have so many things in store for you over the next 10 years, so many programs, so many ideas, so many accessories. You know, I use not only the Healy, but I also use the Healy watch every day, because it's really nice for me having been, being in the field and having more scientific mind, to be able to have something that measures my biometric data on a daily basis and allows me, when I wake up in the morning and connect to the Healy, to be able to see what I've accomplished over the last 24 hours. I can see how my sleep was. I can see the quality of my sleep. I can see things like my heart rate, my breathing, something called heart rate variability, which is a new parameter that a lot of doctors are using to be able to really assess the autonomic nervous system and how much stress you're under on a daily basis. I teach all over the world. I'm the dean of the International Medical University of Natural Education in North America. And so many of my presentations are about the underlying cause of disease, which I have always said is inflammation. But what really is the underlying source of inflammation is stress. And by having the Healy watch, you can access how much stress that you're under on a daily basis by looking at things like heart rate variability. So we have so many tools now with the Healy watch. I mean, the most amazing part to me of the Healy is actually the electroceutical function. If you don't know what electroceuticals are, I suggest you look in Google and search the word electroceutical, because what you'll find is that in the last 6 months, there have been many articles, journals, Scientific American, Newsweek, Time Magazine, and they've all said electroceuticals are the future of medicine, because currently what they're doing right now is using electroceuticals to deliver things like chemotherapy and other medication into the body that normally cause side effects. But with frequencies, we get around the whole area of side effect. And to have a expert database that gives us all our vitamins and our minerals and our nutrients and our amino acids and other substances, and be able to just call on them and deliver those frequencies into our bodies. And when you take a supplement, there's no way for you to know how much of that supplement you're actually absorbing. We all know that our digestive systems do not absorb and process a lot of the substances that we take in. As a matter of fact, I think it's been said that we only absorb about 10% of what we ingest. But when you use an electroceutical, it's being delivered to every single cell of your body at the 100% level. So to me, Healy is bringing us so many areas, so many wonderful ways of healing our body, of keeping us in a state of health and prevention. And I just have to, thank Marcus for this amazing invention. It's going to be a game changer. They're going to look back years from now and say, wow, Healy was the thing that really was the paradigm shift to change the health of mankind. And I'm really excited for everybody out there to have their own Healy and to begin to share their experiences with everyone. And Frank, I'm just grateful to have this opportunity. Thank you. Thank everyone. And take care.
Well, thank you very much, Steve. But I will not quite yet let you off the hook. I have another question for you. But I just want to mention really quickly, I know for me, you symbolize a bridge between the knowledge you have and network marketing we are doing. But really what you said is you don't have to be an expert really to use this product or even to recommend it, to share it with others, because it's so easy. And all our statistics say that if you share it with 10 people, 9 will usually interested. And this is what we see every day, that you just give the device to somebody and say, make up your own mind, try it, what it does for you. And usually 9 come back and say, I don't know what happened, but I feel better. So I can completely agree with what you said. And as you know, you talked about the watch, and we have the Heal Advisor application, we have our digital nutrition application, and our Healy Connector app. But over the next few months, we will come out with so many new subscriptions, like you said, anti-aging, weight management. We will come out with a subscription for animals, because so many people are using the Healy already on animals, even because animals, compared to us, they don't have the consciousness we have. We always think, is it working? Is it not working? Do I feel something? Do I not feel something? With animals, it's a complete different game. And I know you have a service dog. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about this too.
I actually have a therapy dog. Yes, I have a dog that I got 6 years ago, came into my life, a wonderful Bichon. Trained him to be a therapy dog, use him in my practice every single day. He is a wonderful animal. He greets patients as they come into my office. He guides them into my office, shows them where to sit down, sits on their lap, calms them down. My patients love my dog. They actually will email me and say, you know, yes, I miss you, but I miss Teddy more than I miss you, and they want to come to my office to see my dog. So I noticed with the whole coronavirus situation now, I've had to, I'm not seeing patients privately in my office. I didn't think it was a good idea to bring people in at this moment in time to not only expose myself, but potentially expose other patients. So I am working in more of what's called a telemedicine mode, a remote mode. And so I noticed over the last month or so, my dog, who is just the most outgoing, wonderful, friendly animal of all, started to get very depressed. I literally felt that he was going into a state of depression. He was very listless. He was sleeping all the time. He was hiding underneath the couch. He wasn't peppy. He wasn't eating. And, you know, I'm not a dog psychologist, but I could tell that my dog was suffering from what I consider to be depression. You know, I've been so busy with the team working over the last 3 months, trying to get everything ready to set up coming to the US, that I really neglected him. In fact, that I had an amazing device here, and because of my time commitments and busyness, never thought of even using it. And on Saturday last week, I decided I had some spare time. I said, you know, I'm going to try this on Teddy. And so I did a scan on him. I did a scan first on the emotions and the chakras and meridians. And actually, it was the Bach flower scan that I used. And interestingly enough, the first thing that showed up on the scan was that all about gorse, the Bach flower, and the lack of sense of purpose. And we all know that animals, especially dogs, have a sense of purpose. And his purpose wasn't being fulfilled anymore. He could not understand why people weren't showing up anymore, why he didn't have his role as a therapy dog, and he had lost his sense of purpose. And so the Bach flower remedy immediately was the one that deals with sense of purpose. So of course I ran that program set, and then I decided to also run the entire set of programs to see which one fit for him. And not, you know, I wasn't surprised that the one that showed up was the mental emotional set of frequencies. And I did the analysis on him, saw which ones were the programs to run, ran the programs to him. And I can tell you that literally within an hour, my dog had changed. My dog had already gone back. He just, you know, it was funny watching him as I was treating him because he started to kind of move around. He actually looked at me like, what's going on? I really felt he could actually feel something was changing inside of him. And I can tell you in the last week, he's been back, you know, to the way he's always been. He's energetic, he's eating, he's happy. He literally has a smile on his face. And so, you know, the fact that we not only are able to use the Healy on ourselves, our own bodies, but on our best friends, our animals out there, to me, is just so wonderful. It also opens up a whole range of people to be able to share the Healy with, because we all know that many people out there take better care of their pets than they do of themselves. So that, to me, thank you for giving me my pet bag. Yes, it's amazing. There's one final thing, though, that I want to end with here, because I think it's really important. You know, when I got into the field of energy medicine, they always mentioned to me that an important aspect of working in the realm of frequencies is the whole idea of intention. Where is your intention? You know, there's been a lot of studies, interestingly enough, even at Stanford University, on one's intention and interaction with things like computers and other, you know, mechanical devices. And I can say that the intention you hold will have a lot to do with your success and outcome, and how quickly and how effectively Healy works with you. And so what I would recommend is that when you're working with either yourself or other people, that you don't focus on the specific disease or imbalance that you have, that you're working with, but you focus on the outcome, the positive outcome of where you want to be, of where you want your health to be, of where you want the person that you're working with, their health to be. And I think if you set your intention and you set your focus on what you want to create, you'll find that the Healy will align with you and allow you to fulfill your wildest dreams. So thanks again.
Well, thank you very much, Doc Steve, for this really insightful talk, because I think you're a great professional. Your connection with MLM and what you have done so far is just, for me, unbelievable and amazing. So thank you for being with us, and I hope we will have you back on these Frequency Friday webinars more often, because I think you can contribute here greatly. Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you, Frank. Appreciate it.
Okay, so the last speaker for today is our global master distributor, Dirk Zahlmann. Hi, Dirk, you're still here? Because usually Dirk is coming a little bit more at the beginning, but I thought when now Steve talked a little bit about also applications and all this, and keeping in mind that we come out with new subscriptions and all this, Dirk has always a great vision and a great understanding of how to use our interconnectivity products together, because everything is linked to each other. The watch, the Healy, the applications, all this is a whole ecosystem, I always say. So Dirk, tell us a little bit about how you use our products.
Yeah, hello guys. I always like to read the chats in between, and exactly that's what I want to pick up. Everywhere in the world, since we started Healy in 2018, when I was meeting Marcus the first time, and he was talking about the Healy and showed me the Healy and talking about the frequencies, I was aware of that. I didn't know anything about frequencies at that time. So when we talked about how could we place the Healy into the world that the most people, the population, can get their hands on the Healy, there was only one possibility. The possibility for me was to say, we have to do something that is fast enough that people can recommend it in an easy way, how this product works and what this product does to people. And as we started in 2019 with network marketing, it was clear that we have to find an easy way how people can get into touch with people without having the knowledge of a doctor or a therapist. Therefore, we want to have Doc Steve on the call to give you the bridge between being a doctor on the one hand with enormous knowledge and highly respect, but on the other hand, someone who is very successful in network marketing now. The combination is that the most people in network marketing, and right now we crossed more than 60,000 people, members in our teams in 1 year and 2 months. So that means duplication is possible with the product. The thing is, if you don't know anything about frequencies, you can learn easily, like I did. In a couple of days, Marcus got me into frequencies, and I learned a lot about the internet. But what I saw is that to understand frequencies, the best way is to use our product and to show our product to other people. The Healy is a perfect match because in there's all the expert knowledge already built in. So what does it mean on a very easy way? Means like the iPhone. I don't know exactly how the iPhone was built and how the iPhone works, that I can use WhatsApp and email and text messages and calls, but I know it works and I can show it to other people. So the Healy is the same way why we have born it into network marketing. And for me, it's very important that the people understand that you don't have to be an expert in frequencies, an expert how this product works in detail to recommend it. Because this product is so good that 96% of the people who who get in touch with Healy already have a first good impression and then are ready to recommend the product already. So that means keep it simple. If you now go out, and we discovered that already last year, and say, I want to first of all become an expert into frequency or all that knowledge about it, I can tell you, and we can ask Doc how long it took for him to become an expert in what he's doing. It can take 10, 15, or 20 years. If you now want to wait 10, 15, or 20 years to build up a business with Healy, I can tell you the momentum that we have already, we have 60,000 people right now. In the next 2 years, we have more than 500,000 members. Then you will wait forever. So it's not only that we want to talk about earning money, it's we want to help people. And to help people, more people have to know about the Healy. And therefore, we need the momentum that we created last year. We did a build-up last year, parallel 45 countries. And again, now today with 60,000 people already as a member, we are one of the hottest network marketing companies right now because we grow momentum more and more and more. In the first year, I said, let's focus, Marcus, let's focus on the Healy, that the people understand what frequencies can do. Let them touch and see the Healy first. Although we were already since March last year in preparation of new products. And my intention is not healing. I do not want to heal with the Healy. I want to give people the solution without knowledge, pressing a button, downloading an app, and then become the expert knowledge of minimum 15 years of experience of Marcus, the medical board members, others therapists and doctors that worked already with big time waver therapy machines. All that is built in to the standardized programs of the Healy. And that is the most important thing. We are in a business where we recommend something that has expert knowledge in there. It's the same thing if you would recommend a smartphone or an iPhone. Experts already built it, already made it work, and now it could be you to recommend this. We have a wonderful product. This product, as I said, 96% of the people who see and feel the product are having a good time, are having a better feeling with it, and are ready to recommend. And that is the most important thing. And last year in October, we launched the next stage of Healy. The first stage was let the people understand what frequencies can do. The Healy is so easy that by pushing a button, people can already start to do something for their body cells and have a frequency treatment based on expert knowledge that is already built into the Healy. In October, we launched my favorite product right now. This is the Healy Watch. Why? Because when you use the Healy every day, like I'm doing, you use, first of all, the Gold Cycle programs, then you use programs that you finally discover in your Healy, or you use a program that you might need in that day. But after a while, you see, what do I do next? And then we had this idea to give you, first of all, the database of knowledge as an app. This is the Heal Advisor app. In the Heal Advisor app, you find right now, first of all, a database. Secondly, the programs of the digital nutrition, which is very important. And you can find the right programs for the right time. With this Heal Advisor app, which is a bridge for our database, you can connect the Healy Watch. And this makes it simple because the Healy Watch gives us and gives you the possibility to have an individual recommended frequency plan for your own. As Doc Steve already said, when you wake up in the morning, the first thing that I'm doing, how did I sleep? What's the analysis about my sleep? What's the analysis about my body status right now? That's what I'm doing. And after that, I have my first recommendations, recommended programs on frequencies that I should use and my daily digital nutrition programs that I should use, but based on my body functions. And guys, how amazing is that? Have you ever been in contact with products out there that promise you everything, like the story about the next Amazonas juice or the story about the next pill, the story about the next whatever? We already heard those stories before, But was it individual for you? No. You were fitting to the product and the product was not fitting to you. You were in the mass where you saw, okay, I could use it. Maybe it helps. Maybe it does something for me. Maybe not. Here with the watch, you get, based on your body functions and the expert knowledge of our Heal Advisor database, you get an individual, daily, individual tailor-made program for you. Program with digital nutrition. By the way, digital nutrition, in 5 years from now, I'm glad that we have the trademark already. In 5 years from now, people will only hear about digital nutrition, the next step of nutrition. Right now, the nutritional industry is so big, and when you can help with frequencies on digital nutrition that your body absorbs the nutrition better, what can I say? This will be in 5 years from now, the next big step of this company. When now people understand frequencies, then they will understand what digital nutrition can do. But now, tailor-made, only for you, have your recommended programs every day and your digital nutrition. And that was the idea for the next step. Let 50, 60,000 people understand what frequencies are. Let them talk about how good they work with them. And then give them the Healy Watch and the digital nutrition with the Healy Advisor app. You don't have to think anymore, what should I do? Which program is good for what? You get your recommendations every day based on your body functions. Your tailor-made individual recommendation of frequency therapy, your daily recommendation of digital nutrition, all in there. But in the future, we also have some surprises for you. Is that correct, Frankie?
Now is my microphone on? Yeah, of course, we will really come with great new products. We will come with great new subscriptions. And of course, there will be, right now, there is running a great promotion in the US right now, so which is still available for you until May 25th. And of course, there will be more and more surprises coming in the near weeks and months, but I'm not talking too much about it yet. So thank you very much, Dirk, for sharing this with us. It's always great to have you on the call with us. And we all look really forward to finally come to the US when this crazy time is over at one point with Dirk and me and others together. Marcus will come to the US. So be sure you catch the roadshow appointments once we have set them up and be there. So you can really, we all can meet in person and look into each other's eyes in person. So thanks, Dirk. And now we come to the last speaker for today. Of course, you all know him, our great USA Healy World General Manager, Rick Fleshman. Hi, Rick.
Hey, Frank, can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect.
Awesome. Good morning, superstars. I'm so proud of the job you're doing here in the US. We are creating just an amazing culture, and we're very stuck to it. And you can hear in the language of the people that you heard today so far, talking about intention from Doc Steve. That's really where we are, because we're a company that helps people get from where they are to where they want to be. And that's the culture we're creating. We've also created a culture here in the US and worldwide of kindness and respect in the way we're doing our business. And it's working. Obviously, we've had some big things happen here in this last week. Big, and I'll give you some numbers here in a second. It's just been fabulous, and I can count on less than one hand the number of like vitriolic messages that have come in from frustrated people, because there's a few glitches here, and we've got the list. We're working on it, and I don't want to harsh the amazing heart-centered presentation we've heard so far. This is in my heart, and I don't go to my heart as easy as other people, but my heart is overflowing, and I want to report to our German corporate team just how amazing the team is here. And you're going to be surprised to find out the field right now. When we started, we had about 7,000 to 8,000 members in the US, and we have shot up to over 20,000. There's been almost 3,000 orders, and probably have gone over $3 million of revenue in this first week. It's been an amazing week. None of us have got any sleep. None of us even wanted to sleep. It's just so exciting. I do want to actually refer back to something that for Marcus, really. I've been in the industry now for 30 years. Hard to believe, and survived so far. And back in the day, network marketing companies were all known to have absolutely the best product. They had great products, the quality. And then everybody figured out with the internet, you can start a network marketing company from your garage and make it look like $1 billion company. And they started doing it, and they were showing up at manufacturing facilities saying, basically, what do you have that I can slap my label on? And for the last few years, we used the term "Me Too," and it's been frustrating. It's it's the new thing of the month. Whether it's now it's CBD, and I'm not going to say anything bad about CBD, but just the fact that everyone has it is this is just the most amazing product. And this thing never gets very far from me because I know my wife will have it on, and I won't be able to use it. So we sort of struggle with a tug of war on that. And I tell the story of when Dirk first contacted me about taking on this role. It took me about 2 days because I had a member position, and you can't have a member position or have interest in one as a corporate team member. And I had made the conscious decision, I'm going to do this. And I was running a resonance scan, and it sent me to the job page. I was like looking behind me, wondering if there was somebody spying on me and doing this. It was just, it's been crazy. So I also want to just chip in and say that the heart-centered nature of our company is fantastic. I want to brag on our customer service team right now also. This is 3 ladies who have significant experience in network marketing, and you guys, obviously, with the few issues that we're having, and we're keeping the list, they're getting a little bit blown away. So now I got cleared, and we've already brought on a brand new one. So now we have 4 people. It takes them a little bit to get onboarded, and Alondra will be answering tickets very soon. Her last experience was in customer service with a $100 million MLM company out of Houston, and we're really excited to bring her on. I've been watching some of the chats as they go by. Yes, I am aware that some of the earlier people who ordered haven't received it, and some of the later ones have. I'm looking into that later today with our logistics facility. And but suffice to say, you're going to get your product. I know how much you want it, and I'm glad you want it, and we'll get it to you just as fast as we can. Inventory is showing up regularly in the Salt Lake City 3PL, we call it, third-party logistics provider. Just a big shipment just yesterday hit, and we got one cleared, another one right behind it in customs. So we won't be running out of product anytime soon. And if you haven't received a tracking number via email, just wait a couple days and open a customer service ticket. And I'm going to ask my team to post some links in here. One, the best way to be updated by me is in our Telegram group. And that's where I put everything. And please go in there. We don't allow chatting in there because we did, and it just got to be like customer support. So we had to shut the chatting down. We're getting as much information in there as we can, trying to keep you up to date and doing the best we can. So wait a couple days, open a customer service ticket. If you haven't heard back, pop me a message. You know how to find me. And I'll escalate it. I'll do my best to make sure you get an answer very quickly. Obviously, we're about 500 tickets behind right now, just to be honest, and they can clear 50 to 100 each every day. So, and then some more come in. So we are working on that. We're working very hard. I'm very proud of my team. I'm also very grateful for you guys here in the U.S. field. You are rocking this. Super, just amazing. The attitude and the culture of kindness and respect that we are building here is one that's going to set an example worldwide. I also want to report to you guys that this team in Germany is also, Frank, I don't know when you sleep, man. And Frank answers my messages in the middle of his night, and he's still up in the morning. Dirk has been he was just on our last Zoom, which is why I'll keep my part short. You guys endured me for an hour and a half 2 days ago, and I had Dirk on there with us answering all the questions. Thank you, Dirk, for all you've done. And also my mastermind team, which Doc Steve is one of, along with Terry Perez and Ken Close. These people, we talk every week, and I'm listening. So talk to your upline. I'm hearing it when you talk, and I'm interested in finding out what's going on with you. Please don't allow the energy of frustration to come in. Just like Doc Steve said, it's intention. Focus on where you want to be, and this is all it's gonna come in. couple little more logistic stuff. Sorry for the offsetting all the beautiful heart-centered things, but I do see a CS report every day, and we're increasing the number of tickets answered. One issue we have right now that we're fixing is if you put an incorrect address in on your order, we don't have a way to get that fixed. You have to open a customer service ticket, and then we can recall the order. We're getting a button. It may already be there, but we're getting a button that says, oops, I need to edit the address in my shipment and things like that. I know the back office points and the CV and things like that, and the downline counts, they're gone temporarily. I'm told those will be back any day, and so we're looking at that. And also, let's see, got a couple notes here. Policies and procedures and the comp plan document are now in your back office, and so there's some of you have seen a pop-up box. You have to agree to all that before you can get in. Please look at all that. Look at the comp plan, look at the policies and procedures, because we are starting to now enforce that. If you have, he probably put the compliance email address in the chat. If you're noticing anything, we've literally seen a grand total of one person not in the US claiming something about the COVID-19 virus and the Healy. So we can't be doing that, but I'm preaching to the choir. It's not really happening. That being said, like I said, I'll keep my part very short. I'm super grateful for all of you guys. And Frank, just thank you for all you're doing. And gratitude is the word of the day over here, man.
Well, thanks to you, Rick. I know you're holding the head up high over there. Of course, we all know about the problems. Like you said, we're keeping a list and everything. And I want to assure you, we know what the problems are. We actually hiring left and right external companies who can help us with helping in support, helping in programming, in IT, everywhere where we have the issues. So we're working really on high speed with every resource we can get our hands on to fix this. And so all the US team, I have to say, did a fabulous job so far. And I'm very grateful to have all of you over there. So great job, guys. And we're supporting everything you want and you do. And the only thing right now I can say the same thing, focus on what you want to achieve. We know we have issues here and there, but I can assure you we're working on them as fast as we can.
For sure.
So thank you guys for our great webinar today. I'm looking forward to see you again in 2 weeks when it's already again Frequency Friday of Healy World. Take care of yourself. I wish you lots of success. I hope all of you get your Healys as soon as possible and you can make your experiences like all of we had. And it's a wonderful product. I'm sure every one of you will be very happy with it. So tune in the next time when we say Frequency Friday. Enjoy your weekend and stay safe, okay? Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.